Canines are our passion. They are our addiction. They are our way of life, right down to the very core. And without them, we would be lost. The canines of this world really are something to behold. They assist us at work. They accompany us at home. And they perform for us in the field. No matter where we go, they are by our side. Canines really are a ride or die, and for that, we are grateful. This podcast will showcase working canines of various breeds and disciplines as we search for those canines and their handlers who are always striving to be the best at what they do. Those who are always grinding. Those who are always pushing the limits. Those who are always dogging. Join us on our adventures as it is sure to be a wild ride. I'm your host, Bryce Matthews.
And I'm your co-host, Stephen Basham.
And this is Semper Doggin'. The Semper Doggin' podcast is proudly presented to you by Froggy Bottom Outdoors. Froggy Bottom Outdoors is the newest outdoor and hunting supply, habitat management, and livestock feed provider in the Midwest. With a wide variety of products, a unique business model, and a dedicated team of individuals who are eager to provide their customers with an unparalleled shopping experience, you will not have to search any further than Froggy Bottom Outdoors. With brands such as Garmin, Yoder Nylon, Banks Hunting Blinds, Razor Hunting Gear, Purina Mills, Kalmbach Feeds, Inukshuk, Real World Products, and many more, Froggy Bottom Outdoors has you covered from the farm to the woods. Visit FroggyBottomOutdoors.com today and follow them on Facebook to see how they can help you. Not finding what you're looking for online? No problem. Feel free to give the store a call at 765-330-2098. The team at Froggy Bottom Outdoors is excited to get to know you and would be glad to answer any questions you may have. Welcome to another episode of the Semper Doggin' podcast, guys. Tonight, I am joined with a crew of people, starting off none other than your co-host, Mr. Stephen Basham. How are you, brother?
A little under the weather today. Took a long nap. Hopefully get through this, get back out to the woods. Been hunting pretty hard.
Well, you must not feel any better than you look, because you ain't looking very great either. So.
Man, I look the part, though. I mean, I am the knowledge of this podcast.
Gosh. Oh, man. Well, Basham, he recruited a couple other guys to join us today. We got Jason Himes and Mr. Chad Spradlin with us tonight. And, guys, we are going to talk about the hound they've been on a run with, Mr. Split Treein Trigger. So, fellas, how are you tonight? Welcome to the podcast.
Doing good. How are you doing?
Fantastic. All right, guys. Well, like I said, Basham recruited these guys, and they're kind of down from his neck of the woods down there in Kentucky, I do believe. So we're going to let Basham take the reins on this race and see where we can go with this. Like I said, this podcast is going to be, kind of just telling the story of a dog and maybe a couple guys that people might not be familiar with, that they're not the biggest names that you see every single weekend in and out in the winners list, but they've got a hell of a story to tell. So that's what we're here to do. Talk about Mr. Jason Himes, his dog Split Treein Trigger, and the man behind the reins, Chad Spradlin. So Basham, why don't you just take it on over, brother?
Yeah, so me and Bryce, we're sitting here thinking of we were going to do a podcast, and I know that, I had been on social media and seen where nobody had really jumped on and got Mr. Himes on here to talk about Trigger. Trigger kind of came out of nowhere. I think he ended up, everybody that's going to listen to this podcast knowing because he won the PKC Nationals, and he comes from Eastern Kentucky. He's owned by Mr. Jason Himes, and we're just going to jump right into it. Jason, why don't you just kind of go into what he is out of and, what he was like as a pup?
He's out of Willie and Whitey Marshall ZZ Top female. I purchased him from Matthew Sprinkle at 10 months old for my daughter, which was hunting with me every night back in 21. And then she got to dating and quit hunting. I put him on the back burner and just took him every now and then. January the 1st of 23 made his 40th night of ever being in the woods. Yeah.
Wow. So really, this dog was allowed the opportunity to just kind of sit and mature. You know, you had him as a pup at 10 months old. What was he doing?
The third night I took him out, he was a couple hundred yards right-handed, a couple hundred yards left-handed. I see a coon sitting up in a tree. And, I mean, the coon's been there for 30 minutes. I tell my daughter, I said, he's coming through that field tracking, but he ain't saying a word. And he goes over and trees that coon that I know's been sitting there for 30 minutes. But I was like, this dog's got potential. Good. And then I just put him on the back burner when my daughter quit hunting because I had too many other dogs I was fooling with.
Gotcha.
And kindly what I was getting at was one of the best dogs I've ever been in the woods with was never in the woods this first night of his life till he was 2 years old. And I was kind of hoping that would play effect with him, and it seems to be doing pretty good.
Hey, you might have just hit a wonderful magic trick of your own. You know, allowing the dogs to mature a little bit. You know, that's something that you don't see. I know. You know, my experiences from that. My dad had old blue dog that he didn't take until he was about 2 years old, and turned out to be one of the better dogs. But so early on, he got put on the back burner until about 2023. Then what happened with him?
Well, I started putting him in PKC hunts. I won 14 out of 16 with him. The 2 I lost was because I was afraid to strike him under the minute. It was my fault. He beat the dogs, but I beat him by not doing my part right. Yep. And I said, dang, I may have something right here. Just kept on laying him in there, and he just kept on winning.
Okay.
Took him to the Tournament of Champions last year. Doubled up at the zones. High scoring dog Thursday night of the top 96. Friday night in the top 24. Had first strike, first tree. The second tree was a den tree. And they minus me on a legit den tree. The hole in its size was softball.
Sometimes those are the breaks that are hard to swallow.
Yeah. I questioned it. Marked the tree, wanted to bring a panel back out in the woods, but in that kennel club, it don't happen.
Not going to happen in UKC. You ain't getting that panel.
No.
Nope.
No.
So
it was a bull crap break.
So when did Chad? Were you handling at the Tournament Champions, or did you come along just before the PKC Nationals? Let's get Chad introduced into this story somehow.
I was with him. I was backup handler.
Okay. So, when did you take over the reins on this dog? Because you've been handling him now for a while, right?
Actually, at the Tournament of Champions that year, I was handling Trixie. We had 2 dogs in it, his female that he owns, and Trigger. And I got beat out early. And then I backup handled for him with Trigger. And then after that, I think it was, a couple months later, I started handling Trigger for Jason. I started pushing him hunts and stuff. And running the PKC state race and stuff with him. We had him, I believe it was top 3 of the state race last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kentucky is, whew. Yeah, it's
a little rough.
It takes a dog to be number 1, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For sure. You can believe that. Yeah.
Basham,
you sound like more than a dog.
Yeah, you sound like you got some experience down there, brother.
Yeah. No. If you look at the state race, I think the dog winning the state race right now has got like 7,000 in open money.
No way.
Yeah.
All right, keep rolling. I'm going to look up some statistics. Keep going.
I ain't even going to get into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another story.
Yeah.
All right, so Jason, why don't you take us through from the very beginning of your run at the PKC Nationals? Because this is kind of where you and Trigger, I guess, I don't want to say got put on the map because you've been around this sport for a long, long time. But this is where you guys signed, sealed, delivered, and did it with style. So let's start from the beginning and walk us through, Chad, and I want your input on how things kind of went too.
All right.
Well, the first night of the qualifiers in Paducah, I handled, and the dog looked good. He made a tree that they asked me how to score it. I told them, I said, there's no coon, it's minus. Little did I know that they was going to circle their next tree that looked just like his. But, I mean, there's no coon, so I minus my own. He said, how you scored? I said, minus, there's no coon. But, long story short, we get beat that night, so I let Chad start handling the next night. And you can walk them through from there, Chad.
Well, I started handling the next night. We doubled up. Went to Nationals, won Friday night, doubled up Friday night, and then
walk us through Friday night. Do you remember who all you drew? What kind of cast you had?
Friday night, let's see here. I believe Friday night early I drawed Spice Girl. No, yeah, I drawed Spice Girl, and we battled back and forth. It was between me and him. Come down to the last tree. I had a den on the last, and if he had a coon, he beat me. But if he had a den, I beat him. So just luck have it. Everybody knows Spice Girl how she is. Just luck have it. She had a den. Couldn't get the coon to look out of it, so I won there. And then late, I drawed Wipeout Z and somebody else. I can't remember. Well, anyway, we turned loose right out of the truck. Trigger slammed the coon for 100, 125. Had it. Wipeout Z got treed. Before we got to his tree, he left. And we started back towards, I can't remember the other guy we was hunting with. We started back towards his dog. And Wipeout Z's, he blowed out. He wound up withdrawing. We go to this other guy's dog. He was treed. It was a circle tree. Anyway, he pulled him off that tree, recut him. He goes back to the tree. He jerks him off of it again. And he goes back to it again.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Ooh, bad break.
So that was the end of that.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's done
we
there.
won it.
Bad break there.
And then the final round was just, well, you've seen it. It was a good hunt.
Yeah, we watched it on live, or I did at least. I don't know if Basham did, but.
Yeah, sure did. Yeah, it was a clinic. So, Jason, kind of go into that, Obviously, Trigger is a type of dog that if you put him in coons, he can really put on a clinic. What type of ability does he have to be able to do that? Like, what type of a dog is he?
He's just a live wire. It seems like the stiffer competition he's in, the better he operates. That's what I've been noticing here lately. Yeah, he, a lot of people think I'm joking when I say this, but he's got such a good nose, and Chad can vouch for me. He laughed at me the first 2 or 3 times I told him this, and I proved him wrong. You can be driving down the road, and if that dog barks at 70 miles an hour, if he barks in the box, you stop, you back up to where he barked at, and you let him loose. Within a minute, he'll have a red-hot coon stroke. Yeah. He's got that type of nose. Yeah, we was at Shelby County hunting, and Chad told me, I told him, he said, once you make that sunbuck hush, I said, he's smelling coons. Yeah, right. Well, back me up right here, and I'll show you. I proved them wrong 3 times in a row, and they ain't laughed at me no more. Yeah. True story, ain't it, Chad?
Yeah, I told him he was full of crap, just to be honest with you. I said, that dog ain't smelling no coon. I'm running 75 miles an hour. That dog ain't smelling coon. He said, well, stop this truck, and I'll show you. I said, I ain't stopping this truck. So we went on down the road, and he started doing it again. I said, won't you juice that sucker and tell him to shut up? He said, I ain't doing it. Stop this truck, and I'll show you something. I said, all right. And I backed up, stopped. It wasn't 45 seconds. He struck, run, treated. I was like, well, maybe that's just luck have it. I don't know. we went on down the road and he done it again. We jerked him out and he done the same thing. That's why I ain't making fun of him no more.
That's it, huh?
Proof is in the pudding, boys. Proof is in the pudding.
Proof in the pudding.
Yep.
Yeah, so that Final Four of the PKC Nationals, I mean, like I said, that was an absolute clinic that he put on. He did it right, and he had his coons when he needed to have them. He had a whole crew out there. I know Kane Streamfield it. Like, you guys just did a good job, and the dog looked great. So, what was the emotions going through you guys whenever you sealed the deal? That hunt's over. The stopwatch goes off. Jason, I saw you in the camera. You was walking back and forth. You was pacing like crazy. How did it make you feel?
He smoked a pack of cigarettes during that hunt. He couldn't sit still for nothing.
My mom said I come out running and I've not stopped yet. Yeah, and it was unreal. The main thing that really touched me, my dad died 3 years ago, and I told him, I said, I want to win a big hunt one of these days. And I dedicated it to my dad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It hits different. Did you tell us a little bit, hey, that's what we're on here for, bub, to tell about the memories. So tell us a fond memory of your father, just for this podcast.
He went hunting with me. He went hunting with me back when I was 13-year-old. One of the 2 nights he went, and he gets him a ticket. They said, son, I'll never be back again. Yeah, we're shooting a coon out, right in the middle of shooting a coon out, and somebody pecks him on the shoulder and says, give me the gun. He says, hold on a minute, I'm shooting this coon out. He says, no, you ain't shooting this coon out, game warden.
Oh, man.
I'll never be back again.
Jason takes his dad coon hunting, gets him a ticket, shooting a coon out.
So did he hold up to that? Did he ever go hunting again?
He went with me one more time, and that was it. Yeah, he wasn't much of a hunter. Yeah.
Right. But it's those memories. And, it's pretty special to be able to you accomplish something that everybody tries, to win a big hunt, whether it's nationals or whether it's super stakes. That's the one thing that I think that we take for granted nowadays is you don't really remember who won the last big hunt because there's just so many of them now. Right. Back when we were kids, back when we were younger, Chad and Jason and all of us, you really only had super stakes, PKC World, PKC Nationals, UKC World, and Autumn Oaks. That was pretty well it.
Yeah, that was all of them.
Yeah, and then, so you had 5 a year, and even super stakes really, wasn't as big of a deal because there's 3 different, age groups. But especially like the UKC World, I mean, even now, I think the Tournament of Champions overshadows the UKC World.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It does.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. But, one thing that I think is cool there, Jason, that you said is, your dad only went hunting with you twice, but you dedicated that hunt to him because you told him you were going to win a big hunt. And it just goes to show that, you don't have to grow up in a hunting family to get into this sport. And your family don't have to be, big-time coon hunters to support the dream that you follow because I fall into that same bucket, my dad, he doesn't coon hunt. He's went with me a handful of times, but he's in my corner. He's my biggest fan. So,
yes, sir.
I just love to hear that, that there's, even though they're not into it themselves, they see them kids doing it, they see them kids enjoying it, and they're going to support them, and they know how much it means to you. So, even though he wasn't a big-time hunter, it still meant the world that you dedicated that to him.
Yes. Yes, it sure did.
Now, another question. Sorry, Chad, go ahead.
As you, Bryce. I'm about the same boat as you. My dad, he don't go coon hunting with me, but like you said, he's in my corner. And none of my family coon hunted. I was the one that got my brother started. He started coon hunting. He used to handle for Jason 6, 7, 8 years ago. And that's the way it all started for me. I went with my ex-father-in-law when I was about 12 years old, got me started. And it went from there, and I'm still doing it.
Yeah. I'm a first-generation coon hunter myself, Now my granddaddy, he was a houndsman. You know, he grew up running, or I grew up running deer dogs down in North Carolina with him, but coon hunting just wasn't a thing. And I didn't even get into it till I was in college. You know, I've told that story in here a couple times, but you know, it is just cool to see that you'll have the support. You know, those people in your corner, they're always there for you. You know, no matter what your interests are. So, Chad, as the guy who took over handling for the dog at that Nationals, and you know, now hearing the backstory of it, how did that feel as a handler, knowing that you know Jason is just as well capable to handle the dog? He owns a dog, but he trusted you enough to take him and keep running with him. You know, after you doubled him up, some owners would have been like, all right, hand the reins back over. But he kept him in your hands, and he knew he had a good thing going. So how did that feel to you to be trusted as the handler for that dog?
Well, he's always told me he'd give me the opportunity to win something big. And like I said, I was handling Trixie, and when he lost there that night, I took over the reins of Trigger, and we doubled up. And he said, well, there you go. He said, here's the reins. He said, hold on tight and let her go. We run with it from there.
Jason, as an owner, how is that to make that decision? Was it just second nature, like you didn't even have to think about it, or was it something that was kind of hard for you to do, to turn over them reins?
Well, it's a little of both. I'd like to handle him, but I'm not worried about myself. I'm going to do whatever I think's best for the dog.
That takes a lot. That takes a lot of guts, because Jason, you're not just an owner. You're. I mean, you trained him. You hunt.
Yeah.
You know, you hunt just as hard. So, I know me personally. You know, it's kind of like me and Bryce. I was hunting a dog named Jed, and hunted him and hunted him and hunted him and hunted him. I got Buddy qualified for the world and Jed qualified for the world, and so lo and behold, boom. You know, me and Bryce both went to the world, and Jed ended up getting further. And it's, hey, as a person that normally runs the dog, it's hard to sit back. It's hard to sit back knowing that, hey, that could be you, because that's I mean, in all intents and purposes, that's your dog, you know.
Right.
So
I agree.
It takes a lot of guts to be able to stay in the background, stay in the back seat, and allow someone else to handle the dog. It really does.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and Basham, it's a funny story you talked about Jed and you mentioned him. That whole run started at Autumn Oaks, you know.
Yep.
And listeners, guys, whenever we're done here with Jason and Chad, after we get done talking with them today, we're going to dive into a little bit of Autumn Oaks coming up for this year. So make sure you stay tuned here to the end of the podcast. But yeah, I'm the same way. And I am not good at it. I'll be very honest. Whenever I let Nikki handle Wheels or Colton, my boy, I struggle to sit there and be quiet, because sometimes, like, there's calls that I would make that they're not making, and sometimes they make calls that ain't no way in the world I would have made that at that time. But, you know, that would have been hard for me, Jason, in your shoes. You're in the finals of Nationals, and you just got to sit there and bite your tongue. Like, that would have been so hard for me. I would not have been good.
Yeah.
And he proved himself, so he's doing, as long as he's doing all right, he's good. He's doing good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're both doing good.
Yeah, so the Nationals, you know, that was his ticket in. That was his entry. That was his foot in the door. I got Trigger, you know, in the household names. But you guys went on to win a couple other big events since then. So why don't you guys dive into those a little bit with us?
You want to talk? You want me to, Chad?
I figured you was gonna pour it on it.
Go ahead, Chad.
We've last little bit we've gotten the top four at the pro sport hunt up there in Michigan and a truck hunt. Last side by side hunt that pro sport had, we got in the top four of it. Last night I won RQE with him to get him qualified for the world.
So he's just, I mean, every given weekend, Trigger's a force to be reckoned with. I mean, he's really started, when you draw that dog, he's really started to become somebody that, you know, the people that sit back, because I know I do it too, we sit back at the hunts you're not at, and you look at the scorecards and you go, me and Bryce would do it all the time. In fact, we were down on his bachelor party down at Cumberland River Park Campground. and we were actually looking at the cards for Pro Sport for the side by side, and we were sitting there going, me, him, and Colton Britton were going, oh well, this dog's going to win that cast, this dog's going to win that cast. We're all sitting around, talking, and I'm gonna tell you, Trigger is starting to become a name where more and more people go, I got Trigger winning that cast. So, coming from what you come from, Eastern Kentucky, nowhere. Nobody knows you. Nobody knew who Jason Himes was before Nationals. How does it feel? And I know that personal recognition isn't something that you look for or that you strive to get. But, Jason, how does it feel to know that Jason Himes and Trigger are now names that people talk about? Hey, that dog is going to win that cast, on a normal basis.
It feels good. It feels good. It's I really don't know how to put into words what I want to say. It's a lot of people let it go to their heads, and some don't. Mm-hmm. I'll fall in the some don't category. Yeah.
That's a good category to be in because we all come from the same, a love for hounds. That's what got me and Bryce. That's what got me and Bryce got started on this. That's what Semper Dogging is all about. Always dogging, whether it be squirrel dogs, whatever. We got something to do with the dog. It's just a love for a man's best friend, and to take a dog from 10 months old to now being a household name. That right there is got to be a pretty darn good feeling.
Yeah, man, it is. Yeah. He there's a young boy handled him up there at the Pro Sport Youth Hunt that had only been in the woods with him twice. He won his cast Thursday night. Should have won Friday night, but it was a handler mistake. But like I say, he'd only been in the woods with him twice.
And something else that I've seen is that Trigger he puts up a good score wherever you take him in the country from what I've gathered. Down there in Kentucky where you live, I think that youth pro sport thing was in Ohio. Chad just said that, he got into the Final Four, that truck hunt in Michigan. So he's going all over the country treeing coon. And to get a dog out of the box that can do that, that's easier said than done, so that says a lot for him.
Yeah, a lot of them can't handle the road good. He seems to be handling it real good.
Yeah, so hypothetical question, and I always think about this, so you've raised this dog from a pup. You do this winning, you get some stuff on there, you got a handler who's making the right calls, putting him in a position to win. Somebody walks up to you and says, price that dog. Is he for sale or is he not for sale, Jason?
No, there's a guy tried to buy him up there. Well, the first night of the qualifying of the Nationals, they was calling my phone the next day trying to buy him, and I said he wasn't for sale. And then the night we won the Nationals, there's a guy trying to buy him. No, he's not for sale.
Yeah, and I posed that question because some people listen to this podcast who aren't into the coonhound world, and
you're a better man than I am.
And and they don't understand some of the money that can get thrown around at these dogs. And I would never ask anybody to, say how much was thrown around, but it's nothing out of the ordinary for somebody to call and say, hey, I got 20,000. Is your dog for sale? Hey, I got 40,000. Is your dog for sale? And, some guys, that dog means more to that to them. And some of them, it's down the road. Like, I'll take the cash and I'll go train a new one. So I always think it's interesting to get perspective on somebody who's trained one. They've invested that much time and they are that emotionally attached to see, hey, is the dog for sale or is he not for sale? It's just kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, there's a guy back, when he listens to this, he'll know who I'm talking about. Back in November of 22 that tried to buy him, and this was before I let in on him. The night that he tried him in November, it made his 32nd night in the woods. And I told him, I said, you can have him for 10 if you want him. Well, the guy that he had handling for him come back to the truck. He said, you better buy the dog. He said, will you take 8? And I said, no. He said, I'm telling you, you better buy the dog. And he said, well, can I hunt with it? He said, I'm telling you, you don't need to hunt with the dog again. You better buy the dog. And he didn't buy, so he called 2 weeks later wanting to buy. And I told him 17. He said, you take 15. I said, no, he's not for sale no more. It's just like I told Whitey Marshall. He said, you ought to sold him. I said, Whitey, he's going to win more than that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I always fall back. So, I've handled quite a few dogs and won my share of stuff, but I always fall back to a dog that I sold Nikki Hale, and dog's name was Wild Style Molly. She won Reserve Nationals with Nikki, and Nikki brought her back to my house, and I think 4 or 5 months later, no, like 3, it would have been like 3 months later, I walked outside and she was deader than a doorknob, had a brain aneurysm, and right there is just, it just always replays in my head, whenever I get a dog clicking and someone calls me and says, hey, what can, like with Spot, look at the run me and you made with Spot, Bryce, when he was a pup, and I couldn't hold on to him. He had to go, and now I got him back at my house. But I mean, it's just, for me, it's just hard because every time I say no, the picture of Wild Style Molly pops in my head. And I'm just like, man, 2 months from now, if something happens to that dog and I turn down 20 or 30, I'm going to be kicking myself in the rear.
Right. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah. It's just hard to find something that replaces it.
I agree.
Be able to compete on that level.
So, hey, my hat's off to you. Not only are you giving up the reins of handling, but, the more you win, the more those buyers are going to be knocking on the door. And, hey, my hat off to you for being able to keep your composure, allow Chad to continue to win and not break up a good team, because people don't realize, I mean, you go all the way back, you'll know who I'm talking about, Jason. You go all the way back to Joey Carver and Tank. Once Joey sold Tank, nobody won with him like Joey did.
Well, I'm going, what I was talking about previous, you just said the names. Joey Craver is the guy that told the other guy, he said, I'm telling you, you better buy the dog. He said, well, can I hunt with him one more night? Joey said, you don't need to hunt with him one more night. Buy the dog. Yeah. He said, I know a dog when I see one. He said, buy the dog. Yeah.
I like Mr. Albert. But, yeah, I mean, Joey.
That's who it was.
I mean, but that right there is kind of who I point at. I mean, I know Cody Main and them won they won the first Rochenier Classic. I know they won that, but as far as I'm talking consistently, there's just when a handler and a dog get clicking, the worst thing you can do is take them apart.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, the worst thing you can do.
Yep. I agree with you.
Sometimes I think that a lot of times that people, I don't know. I don't want to say that they get too big to remember that statement. But I always feel like, you can look around at some of the smaller guys that aren't traveling. They're not doing it for a living, I guess. And look at some dogs that they do a bunch of winning with. And then somebody who's got a deeper pocket comes and buys that dog. And instead of taking the dog and maybe taking that same handler for a cheaper price, just buy a package deal. You can own the dog, but leave that dog in that guy's hands. He might not have won everything. He might not be the biggest name, but they're clicking. And they'll take it and they'll put it in one of their paid handlers' hands, I guess. And then, the wheels just fall off. It's a train wreck sometimes. And then they're like, sometimes the dog gets blamed. There's just a lot that goes on. But I think there's a lot more of that goes around than what people think is that, clicking between dogs. Like, heck, Spot and Basham. Basham can hunt Spot and he can look great. And I tried to take him down to Kentucky. This is a legit deal. I tried to take him down to Kentucky and help Basham out earlier this year.
Too bad you don't have the shirt handy.
Yeah, last year, whenever it was. And, Basham had 2 dogs in, so I tried to help him out. I handled Spot. And that dog looked like a fool. I mean, you wouldn't think that dog knew how to tree a coon. He's backing dogs. I got to him at the tree, and that joker tried to rip my arm off. And that is a God's honest truth. I had a shirt to prove it. He ripped it from the shoulder down to the wrist. I look like the Heisman Trophy winner stiff-arming this dog, trying to keep him from eating my lunch, Basham takes him the next night, and dog's firing on all cylinders. And he drew somebody that I drew the night before, and they said, that ain't the same
Joey
dog.
Gopher.
Yeah, yep, Joey Goforth. He said, well, that ain't the same dog. And Basham goes, yes, it is. He said, there's just a different person behind the lead tonight. You know?
That dog had the bluffing on you. He knows you wasn't going to do nothing. He knows Basham will straighten him out.
Well, I think that was a problem. Is I tried to straighten him out there for acting like a fool, and he's going to see just how far he could get. He tried.
But
to.
yeah, I mean, dogs just. I mean, throw out another one. You remember all the winning I did with Wipeout 3B, and then after I sold her, she never won another cast. Pretty much.
That's a lie. I won a few casts with her after you sold her.
You know what I mean, though. I mean, consistently.
If what I look at, the dog buddy's up with you, it's going to do better for you than it will somebody else.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Hell, even Buddy, you know this, Bryce. I mean, he'll hunt for anybody, but Chad, you know this. There's a difference when a dog gives 75% and then that dog gives you 100. He just. You're like, oh man, he ain't got a chance, and then at the very last minute, boom, he just craps out a coon, and it's just different. You're like, wow, he really come through on that one, and it's just you can see the difference in a 75%, and that's the way Buddy is. Buddy will hunt for anybody, but he kind of mediocre. He'll give you about 75%, and then when I'm hunting, it's like he wants to give that extra 25. And so that's kind of to wrap it all up. That's what we talked about. That's what we've been talking about is, hey, hats off to you, Jason, for not only being an owner / handler that hunts. You've allowed Chad to take over the reins and keep the reins, and then to be able to keep the wolves at bay, and not cash in a cash cow, shall you say, and just start on another one. I mean, and for us little guys that come from nothing, I mean, that's hard because I'm going to give a quick example. So the guy that owns Buddy, when he started winning a lot, we got offers from everywhere. How much? And I looked at Bruce and I said, Bud, I got a question. I said, here's how I want you to answer this question. I said, if 40,000 would greatly change your life, then sell him tomorrow. But if 40,000 wouldn't even blink an eye at, I said, then what's the point in selling him? And you see where he's still at. He's still at my house because 40,000 ain't going to greatly change his life. Now someone offered me 40,000, that dog's gone because, man, I could do a lot with 40,000.
Yeah, but how long is it going to take you to train one back to that shape that he's in?
I don't know. Depends on how many kennels I can build.
Yeah, you're going to be a while doing it.
You're going to be a while.
Same way of Trigger. How long would it take us to do another one?
I agree.
Right now?
I agree, but then for me, this is just me. This is my personal opinion. That snapshot of Wild Style Molly pops up.
Well, I had one of the same situation. Yours. Smash. Well, it's been here recently within the past year. A guy called me and offered me a big lump sum for him. I said, no, he ain't for sale. 2 weeks later, he dies. I mean, I see where you're coming from. That's always stuck in the back of your head. Well, if they're selling, something might happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
So let's just roll on. What is the next big thing for Trigger?
We're going to try to win the world.
Okay.
Are you guys going to be at Autumn Oaks? Yeah, so I was going to say Autumn Oaks.
Yeah, I think we're going to Autumn Oaks too. I ain't 100% sure. That's up to Jason.
I'm going to say, I mean, just kind of throwing it out there. If anybody can document a path to take with dogs, it would be J.R. Gray and Willie. I mean, look at them. Nobody knew who JR was or who Willie was until they won the UKC World. And man, I'd love to see that bank account that Willie's got that guy. I mean, because he's just producing.
Both of them will go down in the history books for many reasons.
Yep.
Yeah, that's just what I told him the other day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep.
So Autumn Oaks, the world. You guys got any pro classics, any pro sport hunts coming up, anything like that?
Yeah, we got side by side coming up this weekend in Springfield, and then we got.
I'm sure you guys are going to the truck hunt in Lebanon.
Yep, the 26th, 27th will be there.
Well, that's 23rd, 24th.
Yeah, 23rd, 24th.
I think
they've moved them now. They're not in Lebanon. They're moving them to Springfield.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Well, I'll see you guys there. I got an early and a late, so.
No, I hope I don't draw you.
Friends now, enemies in the woods.
Enemies.
That's exactly right.
Nah, well, shit. Not me. I'll shake it. Now, 10 years ago, yes, we would have been enemies, Chad. But nowadays, man, you see the gray hair.
I'm right with you.
Man, I just want to enjoy it. I mean, even if I lose, I know the people paying the bills don't want to hear this. Actually, I take that back. I hunt for the best 3 people. I've got Buddy, who's owned by Bruce Bartz, and I've got Spot and Star, who is owned by Jeffrey Davis and Tiffany Davis. And let me tell you, they are amazing. They don't care. As long as I'm having fun, as long as I'm enjoying it, as long as, that's where my heart is, that's all they care about. And I couldn't ask for better friends than those 3 people.
Yeah, and it seems like Jason, Chad, it seems like you guys are kind of rolling on that same deal right now. You guys are having fun doing it, and that's what it's all about. Just having fun, hitting them hunts where you can, but enjoying the ride.
Yeah. Just have fun when you can, because you never know if you're going to be here tomorrow. You might as well have fun while you can.
Well, you never know whenever you introduce your partner to somebody, and then they're just gone.
What are you talking about?
That ain't going to happen.
It happens, don't it, Steve?
Oh, it happens. They move 5 hours away.
It takes a team, man, to go outside of state and travel like we do. One person can do it, but it takes a team to do it.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got
a friendship. It takes a friendship. It really does.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got our truck girl. She's got that big tracking device in the truck. She keeps up with him just in case, he's in the road or something, and we withdraw. She can go get him real quick. So, I mean, she's always there. It helps out having her in the truck. And then me and Jason, we take care of everything in the woods and let her deal with the truck.
Sounds like you guys need a new logo. Team Trigger.
It's coming.
There you go.
Yeah, it's coming. It's in the works.
It was born right here on Dogging.
Yeah, it's in the works.
Steven's going to have to get us some stickers to put in the back glass of the truck. Team Trigger.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Yeah, all right, guys. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We appreciate you guys coming on here in short notice. I messaged you guys freaking 15 minutes before this popped off and asked if you'd be interested in coming on, and I appreciate you guys being available and being able to jump on here and kind of tell your story.
Yeah,
appreciate you having us.
Absolutely, guys. Well, best luck to you guys in your upcoming events, and congratulations on what you guys have accomplished so far. So appreciate you guys joining us. Listeners, hey, stick around. We are not done yet. We are going to be covering a little bit on the the Autumn Oaks event coming up here in Richmond, Indiana, as well as recapping the UKC Youth Nationals. So stick around here just a second. We're going to get right back, Basham and I, recap a couple things, talk about some events going forward, and then we will finish up this episode of Semper Dogging Podcast. But Chad, Jason, thank you guys. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good one.
All right, see ya.
Hey, thank you, guys.
See you, bro.
We all know that canines can take us to some wild places, and some of those are only accessible by an off-road vehicle. No matter how hard you try to maintain your ride, something is bound to break on one of your adventures. When you find yourself looking for replacement parts, or maybe even a few upgraded parts to further try and prevent a breakdown, look no further than Never Satisfied Off-Road. Joey Goforth is the proud new owner of Never Satisfied Off-Road and is ready to serve you. Performance accessories such as lift kits, portals, tires, and more can all be found at Never Satisfied Off-Road. Located in Covington, Tennessee, the team at Never Satisfied Off-Road is ready to ship parts and accessories for your ride anywhere in the country. as their new website is currently being built, be sure to follow them on Facebook at Never Satisfied Off-Road 23 to keep up to date on the hottest items and sales. Give them a call at 731-693-9921 to place your order and get your ride ready to follow your canine wherever they may take you. Are you ready for the best part though? Mention that you heard this ad on the Semper Doggin podcast and you will receive a Semper Doggin approved listener discount. All right, guys. Well, we are back here, and I just wanted to recap the Youth Nationals that was held over in Dowds, Iowa, as well as talk about the upcoming event in Autumn Oaks, which is going to be held in Richmond, Indiana, and even just throw in a little plug for the Indiana State hunt coming up here October 5th in Monticello. So, Basham, I went through and compiled a little bit of information from the Youth Nationals, and just want to kind of review this here with you. Because
go ahead, because I know your kids had a very good showing up there.
Yeah, they did, and it's not just about my kids; it's about all those kids that were there. And what I find interesting is that let's see here, 3 of the kids who won over there in Iowa are 3 of the kids that we had on a previous podcast at the Indiana State Youth Hunt. So it's interesting that we were able to almost pull the Babe Ruth, call the shots on who was winning all that stuff. So. Guys, I know that over there in Dowds, Iowa, there were 49 kids that hunted Friday night. So, Basham, I don't know about you, but for me thinking that all the way over there in Iowa to have 49 entries from 13 different states, that's pretty good for a Friday night hunt.
That is tremendous for a hunt in Iowa. We're talking Iowa. Not Indiana, not Ohio, not Kentucky. We're talking Iowa. To have that many kids, that is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, and not because Iowa, they got plenty of coons, but they're kind of out of the would you call it the competition belt, I guess. You know, if you look in the country, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, that's kind of like where the majority of the events are held. And Iowa's kind of an outlier. So I think they had 13 different states represented over there. 49 of those kids hunted Friday night. And then Saturday, there were 41 entries. Now, that is not entries as in dogs. That is 41 different kids showed up to show in the youth show on Saturday.
Wow.
And for our listeners who aren't aware of how Youth Nationals works, in the show, it is based upon age categories. So you have your youth or your junior division, which is 5 to 12, and then you have your senior division, which is 13 to 17. So the 5-year-olds show against 5-year-olds. The 9-year-olds show against 9-year-olds. And once you get your winner out of that age division, then they show for an overall for the junior and an overall for the senior. So that's how that kind of breaks down. Okay. Now the hunt portion, go ahead.
Now, do the junior and senior ever show against each other?
They do not. They do not.
I figured they would for an overall.
Nope. You have an overall junior and you have an overall senior. And those are just your winners. For the hunt portion, it is not broke down by age. It is just broke down by class. So you have your juniors, your 5 to 12, and then your seniors 13 to 17. So you could potentially have a 5-year-old hunting against a 12-year-old. That's just kind of how that works. It takes a lot more land and a lot more places to get those kids in the woods. So that's the breakdown on how the show and how the hunt work. So 49 kids hunted Friday, 41 kids showed on Saturday. After the show on Saturday, 19 of those kids entered the water race. They had a sanctioned water race out there.
Ooh, I love those. I love the. How many times have I mentioned the all-day events?
Oh, a ton.
Man, it takes me back to when I was a kid. I just love them.
Yeah, and they did a nice job there. They had a real long pond. I mean, that's probably the longest pond that I've seen dogs swim out of. Some good competitive races. I mean, it was a fun time to watch. And then after the water race on Saturday, this was another interesting statistic, I thought. There were 52 dogs hunted Saturday night. So the entries actually went up on Saturday, where most of the time they go down.
You would think just because it gives people Saturdays more of an opportunity for them to drive, and the ones that want to be there for the show, probably more apt to bring another dog and go ahead and hunt since they're already there.
That is true, but knowing that the way that the scoring is placed for the finals and the hunts, it's double cast winners, and then high score single dog, but you have to hunt both nights in order to be eligible for those prizes. So it is interesting to me that the entries went up on Saturday. But we did get some results from that event. So in the junior show, your overall winner was Colton Rorvik. And Colton was handling Wabash River's Lost Highway, Redbone. He went on, and that is his second time winning the Youth Nationals in the junior division. So congratulations to Colton. I know he puts in a ton of time, and I only know that because I see it out here in the driveway. So good job to him, buddy. We're very, very, very proud of you. We hope that you can continue that success on in the senior division. In the senior show, this is another person that we had on the podcast here recently. We had Hannah Cable take the overall top spot. And she was handling her plot dog Gambler. And Hannah, forgive me, I don't remember his full name, but I know that Gambler dog that she's had. You know, she's had him, and I think she told me for a long time that they have won their age division every year of Youth Nationals since the senior division, I believe. So her and old Gambler, they've been on a roll, and they picked up the overall title. They're national champion.
Was this her last year?
It was, yes, sir.
Yeah.
In the hunt portion, Jackson Cable was your junior hunt national champion, and he was handling Less Fame, More Fortune, a dog who has also been making some noise here recently that his dad...
Another Willie dog.
Another Willie dog. His dad, Kevin Cable's been on a roll with here. So very, very big accomplishment for Jackson. Congratulations. You know, taking that picture with 4 up there as a national champion is a long, long ways from taking pictures with Slink. You know, we all know about Slink and Jackson's dog. That was...
famous Slink.
The famous Slink dog. So we've come a long way since Slink, and congratulations, buddy. We're also very proud of you. Love watching you succeed. In your senior hunt, there was a dog named No Name Ep was your national champion for the second time. A back-to-back champion, handled by Brooke Sneed. So congratulations to them. They won last year, and they come back for redemption and won again this year.
Where's she out of?
North Carolina, I do believe.
Wow.
Yep, I do believe it was North Carolina. And I think I heard on another podcast, I think it was the UKC podcast, that Trevor had actually called her dad and said, hey, you know, we have your a jacket or some award they needed to give out. And they said, are you guys going to give it to us or going to be there? And they said, no, I don't think we're going to make it this year. And lo and behold, they pulled up into Iowa and said, you know, Brooke was very adamant that she was going to Youth Nationals and she was going to defend her title. So that she did, and congratulations to her and her dog Ep. So, you know, I want to say a big congratulations to all those kids who made the trip out there to Youth Nationals. Even if y'all didn't win anything, that is a huge event to go out there to be a part of. It gives them a taste of the bigger shows and the bigger hunts and what it's like to be at a big event, because there's some pressure whenever you go to those hunts, especially at that age, you know. And I also want to say thank you to Autumn Bingham for judging that hunt. I know she was out there in the heat, and she's got a baby coming here pretty soon. So thank you to Miss Autumn Bingham for judging that hunt. To all the guys over there at Dowds, Iowa, who put on an awesome event. United Kennel Club, they did a great job. So just want to say thank you to everybody that was involved there at the Youth Nationals. Now, let's move on to Autumn Oaks, the event where history is made.
2024.
It is 2024 Autumn Oaks, and that is going to be held at the Richmond County Fairgrounds in Richmond, Indiana. And the official dates for that are August 29th through September 1st. Now, I will let everybody know that if you have not been to Autumn Oaks, it is one of the greatest weeks of the year. It is one of my favorite weeks of the year. There are more hound enthusiasts present in that one little fairground than anywhere else in the country, I do believe. I think Grand American gives it a run for its money, but I think Autumn Oaks is still the granddaddy of them all.
I've been to Grand American twice, but I've been on. To me, Autumn Oaks is just bigger. I mean, whenever you go into the ceremonies on Saturday, you know, for the top 16, you know, Autumn Oaks is just. It is that hunt. It is. It's the hunt to win. It's the national championship for the United Kennel Club. There is prestige in winning that hunt. To me, this is just to me, and my opinion don't matter. I think Autumn Oaks, as far as prestige, I'm not talking about, the world hunt probably financially is the biggest hunt you can win.
Tournament
It's
champions.
bigger than the PKC World. It's bigger than, to me, it's bigger than $100,000 hunt. Because if you have the right dog, and I think Willie has proved it, if you have the right dog with the right pedigree and the right owner, if you win the UKC World and you're able to push them as a stud, the financial backing that comes behind that is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
But to me, the most prestigious for me, just personally, is Autumn Oaks, is the national championship.
Yeah, it's a great event. And it's not just about the hunt, but the camaraderie that is had there, people coming from all over the country. Like I said, the official dates are August 29th through September 1st, but camping actually opens up that Friday, or that Sunday, August 25th. So people will be there. I will be one of those people lined up when the gates open, August 25th, 11 a.m., ready to get our camping spot, ready to nail down fort for the week, and I'm super pumped about it. So
it's almost like playing hot seats. Like everybody lines up at the fence and they open that fence and it's like, go, 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 go.
Dude, you're not kidding. So the very first time that I ever went with Nikki, that I ever camped, I was like, she was trying to explain this to me. She's like, all right, when they open the gates, we got to drive in there. We got to get our spot. And she gave me this roll of caution tape and some stakes and a sledgehammer. She's like, go mark out a huge area enough for like 5 campers, nail it down, put the caution tape out. I'm like, okay, like it's not a big deal. And so like we get in there and I'm like kind of moseying around trying to get stuff done. And I look around and I see the urgency in everybody else. And I think Mark and Tiffany were some of them. I mean, running to get spots marked down. And I'm like, what is the deal? And then I look at the gate and here comes the campers and they're flooding in. And I'm like, oh, that's the deal, because there is no marked spots. It is first come, first serve, and you take what you need. But man, it's a mad dash. That first 3 hours of getting set up, it'll wear a guy out.
Yeah.
It'll wear a guy out.
Well, it's really going to wear you out. See, me, I'm a little bit more bougie. So what I do is I rent my camper and I pay somebody to come set it all up and make it look all good and block it up. And this year, Bryce has he's just got the pleasure and the honor of setting up his own camper this year.
Yeah, I'm pumped. We bought a camper this year. I'm pumped, man. I'm freaking stoked. I'm stoked. So, yeah. So camping opens up August 25th. There will be a fee to camp the first 3 nights there. I believe camping is free Thursday through Saturday once UKC takes over. Now, the most exciting day of the whole Autumn Oaks is going to be Tuesday, August 27th. There is going to be one heck of a shindig thrown down over there at Autumn Oaks, right there in the fairgrounds, in the open air building where Dan is usually set up. Basham, are you going to be there?
Nope. I'm skipping that day.
All right, well, he's skipping. Cancel him, and we'll find somebody to replace him. Guys, we are having a wedding August 27th at Autumn Oaks, and I am pumped about it. So if you guys are going to be on the fairgrounds, swing by, have a good time, come hang out. It's going to be a celebration. So I am very, very much looking forward to this. I know Steve Fielder coined the term, the event where history is made, years and years ago, and we're just going to make our own history there this year. So Nikki and I are going to tie the knot at a coonhound event. I'm pumped about it.
I think it's pretty cool just because it's not really so much your history as it is her history.
It is her history, absolutely.
And we've talked about it a few times, on this podcast with the picture of her and her sister, in a stroller, at Autumn Oaks, and her dad and her mom, and just the whole family. And then now bringing it around full circle, she's actually getting married at Autumn Oaks. So I think it's a pretty neat family tradition, family history to carry on. So I think it's pretty neat.
It is, because her dad, I believe, holds the unofficial record for most consecutive Autumn Oaks attended by a single person. I know Nikki's been to 41 of them consecutively. Oh, wow. Never missed one.
How many has Curtis been to?
I want to say Curtis is over 60. I want to say.
And still kicking. Still ain't missed one.
Hasn't missed one.
Whew.
Yeah, and I know there was a couple guys there a few years ago who were tallying up what they had, and like I said, it's the unofficial record, but I do believe it is held by Mr. Curtis Elburn.
You know what you ought to do? Secretly. Well, this ain't so secretly, is it? I think you need to get a hold of Alan and Trevor and see if we can't somehow. I mean, it'd be the honor system.
Yeah.
See if we can't figure out maybe this year, like, who is that official?
Yeah, it'd be cool. It really would be neat. Yeah.
That would be neat. Have like a plaque for, 50, 60, I think that would be a pretty neat recognition at Autumn Oaks.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do there. So, like I said, Tuesday, August 27th, we got a wedding going down 7 o'clock. It's going to be a banger. Everybody show up, have fun, come enjoy us, the camaraderie. There's going to be food, drinks. It's going to be a good time. So
a little change of plans in Autumn Oaks too, right?
Not for me.
Yeah, there is. What are you hunting?
Oh, I'm hunting spot. Yeah. Wheels is out, guys. Wheels is out. Wheels is down with Ehrlichia right now. So I'm going to step in and see if I can't handle a little spot for Basham and see what we can do there. So pretty excited about that. And speaking of that, we're going to start off Thursday night. This is kind of how this event's going to go down. Thursday night is when the dual grand championship kicks off. So if anybody is showing up to this event and they haven't pre-entered, you can do that. Pre-entries close August 12th. That is the deadline.
They only take the first 100 duels.
Yep. And to enter into the dual grand championship, your dog must be a champion on the bench and a champion in the night hunt. So night champion and a bench champion. They will hunt against other dogs in their breed. So plots hunt against plots, walkers against walkers, so on and so forth. The winners of those casts will then show on Friday for, they show in the bench show to determine who of that breed wins the best. What are the words I'm looking for here? Who exemplifies the breed standards the best for their breed on the bench? So we already know they've won the hunt. Now they're looking to see who meets the breed standards. And then it goes down to a regular show. You'll have all 7 breeds lined up against each other. And that will determine your overall national dual grand champion. Basham, do you know anything about being crowned a national dual grand champion?
Just a little bit. We got lucky enough. I was hunting Buddy. He put on a clinic Thursday night. And then, me and him just stepped into the ring. And I kind of was... I've watched my dad show dogs a little bit here and there, and I've grew up around the show ring. Nothing like Nikki or any of them, as far as competitively, but enough to know my way around the show ring. And so me and him just went in there and just kind of threw all our cards on the table, and he came out year before last as the national dual champion. So Bart's High Dollar Whiskey.
Awesome. So that's a great accomplishment. It's nice to see those dogs who are built well. They meet their breed standards as far as conformation goes, but they're also doing exactly what these dogs were bred to do, which is go out, treat real live raccoons. And in order to win that championship, one must exemplify all of the above. So that's a very cool class to me. Speaking of the hunts and stuff, guys, we are going to there are 4 hunting locations for Autumn Oaks. Number 1, you're going to have the opportunity to hunt off of the grounds right there at the Richmond County Fairgrounds. Then you're going to have a few satellite clubs. From what I found, looks like Limberlost Coon Hunters Club in Bryant, Indiana will be a satellite. The Van Wert County Coon Hunters Club in Convoy, Ohio will be a satellite. And the Bear Creek Coon Hunters Club in Versailles, Indiana is the newest satellite club. Wow. I believe they are new for this year. Yep.
See, I'm really looking forward to this year.
Yep.
Probably more than any year prior.
Well, you have no pressure this year. You just get to go hang out for a week.
I'm not hunting whatsoever.
Truck man!
I am sitting back and just relaxing and being Mr. Truckman. That is it.
Yeah. So this is going to be a great year, guys. When you do those pre-entries, make sure you do know that the dual championships, like I said earlier, on Thursday, all grand night champions must hunt Friday night. So make sure when you are registering your grand night champion, you make sure you enter him for Friday night. And the reason they do that is if you have not attended this event It will be the top 16 high scores from Friday night will advance to the Grand 16 on Saturday. And that is a production in itself to see those top 16 dogs drawn out. You talk about prestige and honor and making somebody feel special. That watching those top 16 dogs get drawn out, their handlers come out, they parade them around the floor there. They do a really good job of making those dogs and the handlers feel special and give them the spotlight that they deserve. So the Grand 16 will hunt Saturday, 4 casts to 4. There will be a final cast, and that will determine your national grand champion in the night hunt. And I believe that is all for Autumn Oaks. Is there anything else that I missed, Basham?
Nope. I think it's pretty much it. Just come up Tuesday, join us in the celebration for you and Nikki. An old matchmaker here. And
oh yeah, there's a good backstory behind that.
Just call me Hitch.
We're going to. Guys, if you haven't been to this event, it doesn't matter where you're from. Make the trip out. There are being more vendors there than you can shake a stick at. You will find all of your dog hunting supply needs there. All of your the best dogs in the country in the show ring. Some of the best in the country as far as going out in the woods, drawing out against each other. It's just there's nothing like it. Autumn Oaks is
bring your hip waders.
Different.
Bring your hip waders for the tall tails. I mean, you don't get no better. I mean, this is where it all happens. This is the biggest event in most of the coon hunting world. This is the biggest event there is. This is where the old age of coon hunting joins with the new age, and we just sit around and tell stories, sit around a campfire, have a good time, and it's built on camaraderie.
Yep, it absolutely is. So the last event that I want to throw out here and just kind of get the ball rolling on this one is the UKC Indiana State Hunt, which will be held October 5th in Monticello, Indiana. So, guys, I know it's a few months away, but those few months will close in on us quicker than we think it will. So make sure you mark your calendar for October 5th. Come join us up here in Monticello, Indiana for the UKC Indiana State Hunt. That's all I've got for tonight.
Ooh, this was a good one. This was a long one.
It was. So, guys, if you've stuck with us through the very end, we sure appreciate you. We hope you enjoyed listening there to Jason and Chad talk about Split Treein Trigger, some of the accomplishments that they've had, and we were really fortunate to be able to grab them and bring somebody who doesn't get the spotlight all the time onto this podcast and preserve those stories. Hear Jason tell the story about his dad and how that winning that national championship was dedicated to him. So that's what it's all about here at Semper Doggin. Basham, good job recruiting some people and.
Hey, no problem. And for anybody out there, I mean, if you've got we've had plenty of people on here, Elizabeth Brown and, just so many people with a cool story.
Yeah.
If you've got a cool story, me and Bryce don't know everybody and we don't know all your stories, but if you've got a cool story that you would like to document, go on ahead and send an email to
semperdoggin@gmail.com.
and give a brief description of the story and a number where me or Bryce can get a hold of you, and we'll contact you, kind of go over the story a little bit. And, we're, like I said, that's what we're here for. We're here to preserve, because, I mean, once it's documented, once we put it out there on the airwaves, the mythical social media world, I mean, it's there forever. You'll be a great grandfather, showing your great grandson this podcast that you did, and it's all documented. So if you've got a story and you think that you want to tell that story, go ahead and send an email over to us at Semper Doggin, and we will get you on the calendar and see if we can't fit you in.
Absolutely. The other thing I want to throw a quick plug in for is the Hometown Hero Outdoors. Guys, I know if you've been faithful listeners to the podcast, you heard there for a while we were doing the Hometown Hero Outdoors Hero of the Week, and we haven't had one for a while. And that is not for lack of trying or we forgot about it. We have simply just... We have run out of people to spotlight that were emailed to us and who were put on the list. So, guys, if you know anybody who was a first responder, veteran, military, police, firefighter, EMT, anybody like that who falls into that hometown hero category, and you want to give them just a little bit of recognition, go ahead and send us an email to that same email, semperdoggin@gmail.com. We want to spotlight them. We want to say thank you to them. Just give them a little bit of recognition. So we're still looking for hometown heroes to fill in that Hometown Hero Outdoors Hero of the Week. Still partnered with Hometown Heroes. I actually went and hung out with Kyler Lynn the other day. The other day with Hometown Heroes. He's the Indiana representative, and he and I had a good conversation. there's some good things going on over there at that organization. So want to continue to support them in any way that we can and show our support where we can.
And a big shout out to Joey Goforth and Shane Smith, our sponsors here at Semper Doggin. We couldn't do what we do without them. So thank you, Joey. Thank you, Shane, for continuing to support us in our endeavors.
Absolutely. All right, buddy. Well, it's getting late. I've got things to wrap up here. So you good to go?
Good to go, buddy. Hey, it's been a pleasure. As always, thank you.
All right, guys. Well, from everybody here at Semper Doggin Podcast, we sure appreciate you. We will catch you on the next one. See ya.